Sarah, do you have anybody in public?
I'd like to call to order the August 18th MSD of Steuben County Board of Trustees regular business meeting. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First up, we have patron comments. No one signed up tonight. Next will be the approval of minutes. We've all received the minutes from the July 21st regular meeting. Any further discussions regarding the minutes? Do we have a motion?
I make a motion, we go ahead and approve the minutes as presented.
I'll second that.
All right, and the vote, please.
Mr. Archibald,
Yes.
Mr. Beard,
Yes.
Mr. Caswell,
Yes.
Mr. Poor,
Aye.
Mr. Ridenhour,
Yes.
Mr. Sturry.
Motion carries 6-0. Next, approval of claims. Any questions or comments regarding the claims? If not, do we have a motion?
Make a motion that claims be paid.
Second.
And the vote, please.
Mr. Archibald,
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Caswell,
Yes.
Aye.
Mr. Ridenhour,
Yes.
Mr. Sturry.
All right, motion carries 6-0. Personnel considerations, Dr. Wiedenhofer.
Good evening, Board. In your board packets this evening, you do have personnel considerations for this evening, August 18th, 2026. And contained in those considerations, you do have retirements, terminations, and reassignments. And I ask that you approve those as presented.
Do we have a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
And the vote, please.
Mr. Archibald,
Yes.
Mr. Beard,
Yes.
thank you. Mr. Caswell,
Yes.
Mr. Poor,
Aye.
Mr. Ridenhour,
Yes.
Mr. Sturry.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0. We have one special report tonight. Mr. Hiska, Transportation Department.
Good evening. Transportation's going okay. Summer bus inspection was great, 100%. We're running 26 buses, about 50, average 50 kids on each one. Little challenge to the summer. We regrouped with 3 routes. We rerouted 3 different routes. Now we're hauling up to Fremont for the special ed. We've done that, so that's 4 routes that we reconditioned. Took 1 route away. Everything's going as planned. It's just a work every day. Challenge, very challenging. So we're low.
Low on drivers?
Yeah.
Okay.
Participation in the hiring process of that is very slow. I don't know how to change that. We'll put our banners back out on buses, try to get those back out there, see if we can't generate some. We got one prospect now. We had 2, but 1 dropped out, so do the best we can with that. I am driving a bus every day. Julie is not driving a bus every day. Doing the best we can.
What's the timeline on training a new bus driver?
I'd like to average about 6 weeks. The state of Indiana's guidelines with that and an ELDT testing, it just kind of really, by the time you get all your stuff done, you're looking at about 6 weeks. You can't rush it. They do a 3-day school. They got to go down for 3 actual days of 24 or 8 hours training each one, 24 hours total. So by the time you schedule that, you're out 6 weeks. So we'll get her before October. We are going to lose 2 drivers in October, husband and wife moving to Florida. That's going to put us in a little pinch. We're going to try to hopefully get this one ready for that and still be down 1 driver. What we'll do then, hopefully somebody else will step up. I don't know where to produce drivers. You know, Fort Wayne Community Schools and on that, you know, when we had e-learning days and we talked about that, and I'm not saying that we're going to get there. We do everything we possibly can on a daily basis to make sure that we're not canceling a route. Well, when it comes down to October and lose those 2 people and you only put 1 more in the seat, we could put Julie in there, you know, temporarily, but where else is needed? You know, we still have drivers, you know, that have sick days that they really can't use because we can't get any subs. So every school I talk to is in the same boat that we are. I don't know how to generate new employment and try to talk about it. It's not about our money. It's not, anything like that. Obviously, insurance sometimes comes up with most people, but most people that we look for, we like to be retired. The retired farmer is just the perfect person for us. It's just, they're not really out there anymore, so we don't have that. So our pools are slim. We go to kindergarten parents and try to get them anticipated. This one is one of those that's coming in. We'll get the banners back out and do the best we can with it. Okay. Crash, as you know, so we took that money, rolled that money back over, ended up buying a new bus. It wasn't the same as what we replaced because the prices are through the roof and you can't really get them. They're 22 months out to buy a brand new bus, 22 months. So with that, I bought a 2018 bus, had 150,000 miles on it, went down, got it from Curlin's. I thought we got a good deal on it. It at least helps us out in what we lost. And then we, bought a brand new one that's kind of a mini white bus that's yellow, that's a handicap bus. I'm gonna try that with some preschool stuff up to Fremont. The amount of buses, and you look at a bus cost of 150,000 is what that one cost us that we lost, and turn around now to buy that bus today is 192. So how do school corporations do it? You're just in a bad way. So we need to get back at that, but I don't know, we're giving it 100% every day.
Well, kudos to you. He tells me every day, I ask him how he's doing, he'll say, we make it work each and every day. He goes, you're not going to cancel, we are going to go to school, and he figures it out, and he does it. We throw curveballs at him all the time, whether it's fog or weather-related issues. He's up at 3:30 in the morning out driving the roads. I know because I get those early morning phone calls. And then we further complicate his life when we start, moving classes around and doing it with some of our sister school corporations like what we're doing with Fremont. We have a group of special needs students, our little ones go up there, so, he's got to figure that out. And then we also do Wednesday collaborations, which is a little bit different because that's a different start to the day. So our bus drivers, the day begins and ends with all of them, and they do a terrific job getting us off to a great start. So kudos to you. And I don't think you've had one kindergartner fall asleep on the bus yet this year, have you?
Really, I hate to say it, but we had a very tremendous start. As much as ugly as the summer looked, we had a very good start to the first 3 days of school on the kindergarten side of it. And it's just one thing, and I said up here last year, I sit here and said it, it's a team effort all the way around. It ain't me. I get to stand up here and tell you guys about it. It's a team effort from Levi to Julie, to the bus drivers. You couldn't make it happen. You have some very good employees out there. Some disgruntled at times, they're sure, but they're just good employees. And we're running the least amount of buses that we've ever ran in the history of me being here in 24 years. We're running 26 buses at an average of 50, 55 students on each one. And we've cut routes, which saves money, but we didn't cut routes to save money. We cut routes for the fact that we can't get drivers. I sit here and told you last year that we couldn't do that no more, and I did pull it off. I will take the credit for that. I pulled off one more route, we absorbed that, and we're doing the best we can with it. And we kept the Hamilton route that we started because really that generated about 30 kids from Hamilton that deserved a ride. 54 down there, we're hauling 30 of them out of there, but now we're filling that bus up with another 30. So that bus is absolutely full. You get 50 on a bus. Average, I'll give you an example to it, is if you put 2 high schoolers to a seat on a 78-passenger bus, that's 50. If you put 3 of them to a seat, that's a 78-passenger bus. That's how state standards are and how they measure it. So with 50, 55 students on there, with all 3 generations, on there, size-wise, you're full. It's a full bus. It's a lot to handle.
Current seat configuration, I don't think you could get 3 full-size high school students in a seat.
We do buy good buses at 78 passengers, a regular looking school bus, back in your day, on the bus. 78 on them is 3 to a seat, and that 26 seats total. So, we get it done.
Kudos to you. Kudos to you.
All right, we have some second readings tonight. First up is Relations with Community and Special Interest Groups, Policy 1322. Dr. Raylu.
So Board, I'm bringing this policy back to you for your final approval. This policy really just falls in line with the new recommendations from Department of Education based on the last legislative session. And there are no changes to this from when it was presented to you last month.
Any questions? Do we have a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
The vote, please.
Mr. Archibald,
Yes.
Mr. Beard,
Yes.
Mr. Caswell,
Yes. Aye.
Mr. Ridenhour,
Yes.
Mr. Story.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next would be policy 5118, educational records. Dr. Relu.
So, Board, again, this policy has not been changed from when it's presented to you last month. We've updated the format of this to mirror other board policies and included those legislative changes that occurred in the last legislative session. So I'm asking your approval for this update to the board policy tonight.
Do we have a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
And the vote, please.
Mr. Archibald,
Yes.
Mr. Beard,
Yes.
Mr. Caswell,
Yes.
Mr. Poor,
Aye.
Mr. Ridenhour,
Yes.
Mr. Story.
Yes.
Motion carries. Next up is policy 1340, access to public records.
Again, Board, this policy is updated with recommendations from the legislative session. One of the things that had to be added to this policy was a process for if we feel that records requests are data scraping or phishing activity, and the process for us that we're required to follow to report that to the state. And then we updated the hours that we will charge if there's extensive time involved in gathering those records for the request. So again, I'm asking your permission for those policy updates this evening.
Do we have a motion?
I make a motion, we go ahead and approve.
I'll second.
And the vote, please.
Mr. Archibald,
Yes.
Beard,
Yes.
Mr. Caswell,
Yes.
Mr. Poor,
Aye.
Mr. Ridenhour,
Yes.
Mr. Story.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries. And last up here, we have the second reading of the police relations policy 1411.
Board, this policy is updated to further detail out the process of interviews and investigations where students might be concerned with law enforcement. It lays out the procedure that needs to take place, the involvement of school administration, and then our obligation to make sure we've notified parents of any interviews that will be taking place, and then documenting that process if we're unable to reach the parents, to give them the option to be present. And then that documentation that our administrators will follow is included here. Again, no changes from when this was presented last month, so I'm asking your approval this evening.
Do we have a motion?
I move to approve.
I'll second that.
And the vote, please.
Mr. Archibald,
Yes.
Mr. Beard,
Yes.
Caswell,
Yes. Aye.
Mr. Ridenhour,
Yes.
Mr. Story.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0. We have no informational items tonight. Next would be new business, the budget workshop approval to advertise school budget, bus replacement plan, and capital projects asset plan. Dr. Penrod.
Good evening. So tonight, the budget workshop will look similar in format to what we've seen in the past. A lot of new information, obviously, particularly with, as it relates to Senate Enrolled Act 1 and some of the MLGQ stuff. So if you don't mind, I'll kind of scoot over a little bit so I can see both the screen and the board here, and we'll continue to go forward. So process is similar to what it's been in the past, and doesn't matter what school you are, what size of school you are, this process needs to be followed. So we have ongoing communication with the DLGF. The DLGF is the Department of Local Government Finance, and so we touch base with them throughout the year, but particularly this So the, Form 3 is a notice to let everybody know that we're going to have a hearing. We'll have that hearing on September 15th. That has to be published on Gateway 10 days, excuse me, prior to that. So September 5th is when we will advertise that, and then, or no later than September 5th. And then also that same September 5th, we will advertise bus replacement plan and capital asset, capital projects plan. Also have a hearing for those two things on September 15th. And then, and those will be both on the website and on Gateway. And then finally, October 20th, we'll do the, we'll ask the board for approval. And when we approve that, when we ask for approval of that, we'll ask the board to approve the budget, which is commonly known as Form 4. So there'll be a budget, a levy, and a tax rate. And then we'll also ask to approve the bus replacement plan, the capital plans, which are the capital projects, capital acquisition plans, and then also 3 other resolutions, one to transfer appropriation within a fund. So if we have one line that's overspent, another line in the same fund that's not, can transfer appropriation within that. We'll ask for a resolution to transfer from, I take that back, we won't ask for that. The ed to ops transfer we don't do here. And the, and then finally, the resolution to allow us to modify the 27 budget, the 26 appropriation, or cash balance during the 1782 period, and I'll talk about that in just a second. So once we do that, we'll upload everything to the Gateway site and submit that to the DLGF. We've got 5 business days, so a week after to do that, and then all of this has to be wrapped up, well, in this case, by the October 27th, but statutorily has to be wrapped up by November 1st. We can skip this one. This one is basically the same process, or the same information, just in a different format. And then the framework of this, so requirements of MSD Steuben, we have the prescribed forms that we have to use. So again, whether that's whatever school whatever school it is, where everybody's using these particular forms, those are completed and submitted through Gateway, like I said. The advertising, so we have to advertise the hearing, capital plans, the bus replacement plans, and then hold that hearing. And then all of that gets advertised on the website as well. And then we adopt by the first. And then the DLGF takes what we adopt and kind of does their side of things, and then gives us what's called a 1782 notice. That 1782 notice lets us know that if we don't respond within 10 days, that becomes the budget and the levy and the rate. We do have 10 days to respond, and so that resolution I mentioned that allows us to modify the 27 budget, the 26 appropriation, or the cash balance allows us to do that during that 10-day 1782 period. And then when we submit that, that becomes our final budget. And then eventually they issue a budget order for the county. And then finally, the 27 budget will look real close to the 26 budget, only because from a dollars and cents standpoint, not a whole lot more money coming in, particularly in the education fund. And the money that does come in, like in the operations fund, is likely spoken for either through the loss of that revenue on tax caps, or through increased costs such as fuel, property casualty insurance, utilities, salaries, and benefits. So the ed fund is first. So this is Fund 101 when you look at your fund reports and your appropriation reports and your board packets. So we've got the foundation this year is slightly higher than it was last year. Last year it was 6967, went up 1.5% to 7071 per student. And that foundation amount is just for a general education student who participates in nothing as far as the categorical grants, which are like special ed, CTE, academic performance grant, et cetera. So a student that comes here, participates in none of those programs, generates $7,071 per student. That's up 1.5%, like I said. Last year, if you remember, that was up about 4.3%. That was the first year of the biennium. And so generally, the legislature does a larger percentage in the first year of the biennium, and then a smaller percentage increase in the second year, only because I would guess it's tougher to estimate revenue for the state in months 13 through 24 than it would be for months 1 through 12. And so generally, when we see that, we see a larger increase on the foundation in the first year than the second year. All of that means, though, is that foundation goes up. That doesn't necessarily mean the education fund revenue goes up. We'll talk about that in just a second. So the budget for 27, might have to increase that budget based on based on what is already contracted. So we've got a two-year contract, so this is the second year of a two-year contract with the Teachers Association. And so whether we get more money or don't get more money from the state, we're going to have to meet our obligations for that contract, right? And so, right now, the ADM, the way it looks, we would lose, we'd have about $101,000 less this year than we did last year. But we might have to increase the budget, if that makes sense, because we'd have to meet the obligations of that second year of the teacher's contract. So what that means is, if the ADM holds where it's at, we would, if we spent all of that money, we would spend $101,000, roughly more than what we bring in, which means our cash balance goes down to $101,000. That cash balance in the ed fund is around $6 million. That's kind of the luxury of having that cash balance. It gives you some time to respond before we have to adjust things, whether we adjust ADM up next year, the 27-28 year, or adjust staff through attrition or whatever. We can adjust, we have time to adjust for that because the cash balance is so large. Like I said, revenue here is based on student count, so ADM, and then the categorical grants, the academic performance grants, CTE, which is career technical education, special ed. And so all of those have a multiplier that generates dollars, as well as the complexity index, which is a measure of the SNAP, TANF, and foster children that go to school here at MSD. There is a student count on October 1st, and then another one in February. Each of those are funding counts. Those of you that have been on the board for a while might remember that those kind of fluctuate back and forth for a while. At one point, it was September 15th, and that was the only funding date. Then it was in September and February. They were both funding dates. And it was September and February, but February was information only, and now we're back to two funding dates. And so, so we do have two funding dates this year, and then the transfer I discussed earlier, we don't transfer here. There is an option to transfer up to 15% of the education fund revenue to the operations fund, and we've not had to do that. So, fortunately, the operations fund can handle its expenses itself. Thank you. Feel free to stop me if there's any questions, by the way. So on the debt service fund, we familiar with the debt service fund. The debt service budget right now is $5,225,663. So that is what we have due in 2027. I've listed out the bond issues there. On the top, we have lease rental bonds, the 22A and B, 23, 24, and 25. The next line down is general obligation or GO bonds of 21, 22, and 23. And then we have common school loans, the B0281, 0402, 0344, 476, and 517. And then we'll likely apply for another one in the fall. As one of those falls off, another one comes on. The anticipated debt service might have a number in it depending on when we're going to spend that common school loan. If we spend that soon and start having to pay that back soon, we'll put an anticipated debt number in there, which basically just accounts for just exactly what it says, an anticipated payment in 27 that we don't know exactly what that is yet, so we estimate that high, and then when the actual payment comes in, then we know that we can reduce that during that 1782 period. And then finally, the last thing to point out with the operating balance on the debt service fund, the operating balance is the amount of money we're allowed to carry from one year to the next. And so on December 31st of 26, we will only be allowed to have a certain amount of dollars in that fund. And so if you look at the debt that we have here, the oldest one is 2021. And so the 2021 bond and anything after that all qualifies for the 15% of the ensuing year cash. And so what we're looking at on the debt worksheet, you'll see a column for the first half of 26 and the payments due, and then you'll see a column for the second half of 26 and the payments due, and then all of 27, so we can levy for all of that, and then you see a column for the first half of 28 and the second half of 28. Because these are all debts after 2014, we can levy for 15% of the 2028 payments in each of those debts. And so that allows for the school to have some cushion there in case there's a problem with property tax disbursements. We don't get the property tax when we're supposed to. We still have that 15% to fall back on to make that first payment in what would be 2028. But it's not, there is a little protection there for the taxpayer in that the school can't just levy for 100% of the 2028 payments because they want to. And so the 15% is kind of what the legislature came up with as a number that they felt was fair, that schools can levy for 15% of that ensuing year to build cash or to sustain cash in case something happens that they can't pay their debt back. So that used to be 50% prior to, I think it was 2014. If a debt is that old, you can get 50% of that 2028 year. But in this case, they're all considered quote-unquote new debt, and so it's 15%. On the operations fund, it's been a while now, but this combines the previous capital projects, bus replacement, and transportation funds. This one is, again, is expected to be a little higher than the 26 budget. And again, that's because of the things that we're committed to, property casualty insurance, utilities, that kind of thing. So not a whole lot of wiggle room there as far as that goes. We're going to pay utilities. There are certain things we can do to maybe limit the utility spend, but we're going to have to pay utilities. We're going to have to pay fuel for buses. We have to pay property casualty insurance. And so all of that comes out of here. Again, that 15% is allowed to be transferred. In the past, we've transferred 0 here, and that's our intention next year as well. And then the items of note, like I said, this includes the capital asset, capital projects plan, and then also the bus replacement plan. Each of those is funded through this operations fund. And then final bullet there on the left-hand, the bottom left, the MLGQ, SEA1, and tax caps. So MLGQ is the measure of what the levy is allowed to grow. And so if you remember in the past, we've talked about what the max levy is here. And so whatever that number is the only amount, is the maximum amount of money that you can get. So that number in this case is a little over $7,313,000. And so we can advertise for $7,313,000 and get our full max levy. That levy, though, is, like I said, it's capped statutorily, and so we can also advertise, we won't, but we could also advertise for $70,313,000, and the most we're going to get is $7,313,000. So that's maxed out with the MLGQ. The MLGQ is figured on a set of data that's on a 2-year lag, and it's an average of the previous 6 years. And then that used to be capped at 4%. So we talked about this before, and whatever that formula generated, it didn't necessarily matter because it was going to be 4%. When they passed Senate Enrolled Act 1, they left out that cap, that 4% cap, so we've got 6% now. So the formula generated the 6% MLGQ, which means your levy is allowed to grow by 6%. And that's how we get that $7,313,000. So that's what we'll see advertised. However, the tax caps there, because of Senate Enrolled Act 1, have increased. And so back in 21 or 22, tax caps here were almost a non-issue. On a $6 million levy, they were $22,000. So, of course, you don't want to lose $22,000, but in the grand scheme of things, that's kind of a non-issue. Now, on this $7.3 million levy, they are $385,200. And so that's the estimate. That's the DLGF estimate. So that could change a little bit. Probably won't change much because we don't have a ton of debt that's kind of hanging out there. And so that if we did have that on the anticipated debt line, that could change the tax cap estimate. However, since we didn't put anything on the anticipated debt back in June, they used that to come up with $385,000. And so of that $7,313,000, now we're losing $385,000 and change to the tax caps. And so the levy did grow, and then the levy got cut back down. Last year we lost $360,000 on that same mechanism, the tax caps mechanism. So that one, I know that's a lot of information. Before we move on, any questions there?
Do you see year 3 being more than the $300,000 that was projected last year and then what it is for this year?
I would say likely yes. We've not, DLGF doesn't predict out that far, but I would say likely yes, because one of the main parts of Senate Enrolled Act 1 is, it didn't turn on. One of the main parts of Senate Enrolled Act 1 is the supplemental homestead credit. So right now, homestead credit for your homestead only is a flat dollar figure and then another supplemental credit. So now, that supplemental, that will decrease, the dollar figure will decrease while the supplemental increases. And so in 2031, the homestead supplemental credit is 67% of your, 66% of your AV, two-thirds of your AV. So if you've got a $100,000 house, you're only gonna be taxed on $33,000-ish. So for a house that is $100,000, your AV would actually grow, because right now, a $100,000 AV house is taxed on $31,200 because of the way supplemental and the homestead credit work. Because it's a percentage late in 2031, you're gonna be taxed on $33,000, so in that case, your AV goes up. If you do the same formula with $1 million house, the decrease is quite a bit. So it goes from like I can't remember this one exactly, but it might be an $800,000 tax or AV for your tax, down to a like $555,000 AV, and so, or assessment. And so the more of those that are generated, the lower our AV gets, and then the tax cap would hit harder. In addition to that, what's called 2% properties have never had, like rentals and that, have never had a credit, and they will get a credit, or they do get a credit now, and that'll continue to grow until 2031 when it caps at 33%. So all of that said, I do expect tax caps to hit harder in the future. So capital asset plan, we are updating this from last year. So we had the 26, 27, 28. This is a 3-year plan. And so we're checking off what we've done in 26 and then moving things from 27, 28, and 29. Likely moving things from 28 to 29 because of tax caps and their impact, and that we're not going to necessarily be able to afford that in 28, so we're going to push that to 29. Only what we can. We've also offset some of that deferred maintenance type of stuff with the bonds that we mentioned on the last slide, and so that kind of helps to alleviate some of the pressure on the operations fund when we can do that. Same thing on the acquisition projects plan are basically similar. We're updating that, and again pushing some of that to 29. And then the next slide is the bus replacement plan. So the bus replacement plan is a 5-year plan, so 27 through 31. And based on the expectant lifespan of a bus of 12 years. And so a bus lasts 12, but you'll see only 5 on this plan. And so here's a sample plan here next. There's you'll see kind of the way this kind of works. And again, we're working with Paul on what this needs to look like, because even though it's a 5-year plan, it kind of tends to change from year to year. If a bus gets high miles on it, we might move it up in the rotation. If it doesn't have high miles and something else is having a lot of engine work or whatever, we can move that up in the rotation. But either way, that's kind of what that looks like. And then we work with Paul and and look at what Curlin's has charged us in the past for buses. So these are a little low based on what Paul said tonight as far as the options the buses here get. But this is what will end up looking like as far as the bus replacement plan we'll ask you to approve.
These prices are trading the other bus in.
Yeah, so typically, trade is not a ton of money when we do trade, and then we'd have that more than that. I think Paul said like 190 right now going out. Yeah. And then finally, as far as tax funds go, the rainy day fund. The rainy day fund is not supported through a tax levy. It's supported through transfers from other funds. We don't intend to transfer anything there at this point in time, but that's how the money got there in the first place. Right now, we have an appropriation of $1.8 million, and we'll ask for the same appropriation this year with no intention to spend that, but it's a rainy day fund for emergencies. And so if an emergency comes up, if we didn't have an appropriation to spend that, we would need to go through the same process, post a hearing, wait 10 days, have a hearing, and then we could pass the resolution to appropriate money. And in this case, we would just ask for the appropriation now. We've not spent rainy day money in the past. We've done this in the past just in case some sort of emergency comes up. We would eliminate that waiting period in the advertising. And then final slide here, notes for 27. Budgeted on a decrease in ADM. ADM right now is down a little bit. Like I said, we would, if ADM holds right now, we'd lose a little over $101,000. And the education fund would likely see, like I said, a percentage increase on the foundation, but not necessarily an increase in the amount of money coming actually to MSD Steuben. And then that operations fund sees the increase, like the MLGQ, like we said, of 6% to $7,313,000. We could have, we kind of talked about this a little bit already, but we could have a gross AV increase, so like the price of your home assessment might have gone up, but because of these supplemental homestead credits, we could see your CNAV or your certified net AV go down. And so that's something that we're paying attention to, like Dr. Wiedenhofer said, how that will impact things in the future. Total tax rate this year, 0.5632, that's where it's been the last few years. And the 2349 and 3283 for the split between the debt service and operations fund. And then we kind of talked about the tax rate and levy discussion already. And any questions?
Regarding legislation, like when SEA 1 passed, we heard a lot of legislators talking about, well, we're going to go back in and we still got a lot of work to do. Has anything major happened from a financial standpoint?
1260 of the short session, House Bill 1260, or Old Act 1260 now, was that the resolution we brought back in, I think it was June, maybe, it might have been July, for to be able to transfer from the debt service fund into the operations fund. In the almost 20 years I've been doing this, I've never seen a debt service fund be able to transfer to another fund. And the reason they did that is because at the time of Senate Enrolled Act 1, they passed it, and they passed it, it allowed the homestead credits, or the credits, to impact the debt service fund as well. When they came back to fix it, they left that, but said we could waiver out of it. And so we wavered, schools wavered out of it to move that debt service money back into operations where it should have been in the first place. And so that's the main financial one right now. The long session's coming up in January, and that's typically where they do a lot of financial bills or laws. So I expect to see some more laws related to property tax, school funding, et cetera, but nothing really other than that 1260 so far.
Any other questions? Do we have a motion?
Make a motion to allow him to advertise the approval for this, the budget.
I'll second that.
And the vote, please?
Mr. Archibald?
Yes.
Beard?
Yes.
Mr. Caswell?
Yes.
Mr. Poor?
Aye.
Mr. Ridenhour?
Yes.
Mr. Sturry?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Next up, we have Mr. Wagner, Goodwill Industries MOU.
Good evening, Board. I'm requesting an annual reapproval for the pre-employment transition services, known as PREETS, through our partnership with Goodwill Industries of Northeast Indiana. This program helps students with mild disabilities prepare for employment through in-class instruction and support. There is no cost to MSD of Steuben other than providing transportation if job placements occur during the school hours. Just to let you know, we currently have 21 students enrolled at Angola High School, and 5 of those students will be graduating from the program in May. So I recommend continuing approval for the 26-27 school year.
Any questions? Do we have a motion?
Make a motion, we approve.
Oh, yep. And the vote, please.
Mr. Archibald?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Caswell?
Yes.
Mr. Poor?
Aye.
Mr. Ridenhour?
Yes.
Mr. Sturry?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Motion carries 6-0. And next up would be the Boys and Girls Club of Elkhart County MOU. Dr. Wiedenhofer.
Board, in your packet, you do have a memorandum of understanding between the Boys and Girls Club of Elkhart County, MSD of Steuben County, and the YMCA of Steuben County. This is a program for our middle school students that will happen every Friday between 2:50 to 5:30, where with Mr. Hiska's help, transporting our middle school kids over to the Y, just to be able to have a little bit of interaction and more opportunities to be able to get on those courts at Sheets Park, like pickleball, play basketball, or even get the pool. So just another opportunity to be able to provide a little extra time for parents who work a little bit later and have a good supervised environment for some of our middle schools to have. So we did this last year, and we're asking that this be renewed for this year.
Do we have a motion?
I make a motion, we go ahead and approve the MOU.
I'll second that.
And the vote, please?
Mr. Archibald?
Yes.
Mr. Beard?
Yes.
Mr. Caswell?
Yes.
Mr. Porter?
Aye.
Mr. Ridenhour?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Motion carries. Next would be the next grant for Region 8 MOU. Dr. Relu.
Yeah, Board, in your packet, you have an MOU for Next. This is a partnership with Region 8. They have hired a team of people who are supervising career coaching for our region. We have previously had an agreement with them for the high school. They provide our Job Ready 360 account, which tracks all of our work-based learning, allows students to upload their resumes and create portfolios and track their employability skills attainment. This particular MOU includes those things and expands to the middle school. So we are working in partnership with them to create a program around the 7th grade graduation plan that is now part of the accountability model for middle schools. We're very excited in February to have an outstanding program coming to help our parents really understand what the graduation requirements are and sit side by side with their students and really start thinking about that planning. It's a plan that will be revisited every single year as students learn more about their career interests and about themselves and proceed through their courses through middle school and high school. But we're very excited to have the support of the Next team in bringing that work to our schools.
Any questions, comments? Do we have a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
The vote, please.
Mr. Archibald?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Caswell?
Yes.
Mr. Porter?
Aye.
Mr. Ridenhour?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Thank you. Bowen Health MOU. Dr. Relu.
Board, this is an MOU that we bring annually to renew with Bowen Health. They provide for our schools skills coaches as well as our student assistance program for that mental health support. They bill Medicaid or private pay services. There's no cost to the district for this partnership, and so I'm asking your approval that we continue that this year.
Make a motion that we approve the Bowen Health MOU.
I'll second.
And the vote, please.
Mr. Archibald?
Yes.
Mr. Beard?
Yes.
Mr. Caswell?
Yes. Aye.
Ridenhour?
Yes.
Mr. Story?
Yes.
Motion carries. Lastly, we have the strategic planning goals. Dr. Relu.
Board, I am very excited to bring to you tonight our recommendation of 3 goals for our strategic plan. You'll see in the presentation that we have 3 pillars that we have identified for strategic planning based on feedback from our community surveys, staff surveys, student surveys, focus group interviews, classroom observations, and then conversations with the board and district and school leadership teams. The first pillar is under communication, and our communication goal at the top of the column there is that all stakeholders easily access a clear, consistent, and transparent stream of communication that celebrates, informs, and supports the school community. At the start of this school year, we've actually kind of prioritized this particular goal We have already rolled out Parent Square as our unified district communication platform. That has replaced several other tools that were being used by teachers, coaches, administrators, and the district to very easily communicate information. Our feedback on that new tool has been very strong. We have 85% of our parents who have active email addresses in that system who are receiving email alerts. We have 100% of parents who have text numbers that are able to receive text alerts from the district. 15% of those 100% of phone numbers have opted in to receive those text messages. We also have about 36% of our families who have downloaded the app, which just allows them to see and interact with more of that content. But for those of you who are receiving those alerts, you know you also get a daily digest around 6:30 at night, which is a summary of all of the messages from each of the schools, and it's much easier to find that information, receive that information. We're also working within our departments to make sure that we are communicating more clearly, providing accurate information, providing timely information, and doing so in a way that feels friendly and supportive to all of the communication goals that we have. Our second pillar is a financial pillar. Our goal under finance is to responsibly manage financial resources through sustainable practices that preserve high-quality learning, invest in excellent compensation, and ensure fiscal health. This is a pillar that will take all of our 5 years of strategic planning. You'll see that the first item on there is to reevaluate our elementary school structure to reduce the financial footprint and improve academic programming. This is a step that will require many community meetings, meetings with staff, meetings with parents, meeting with community organizations to gather feedback, to talk about different advantages and disadvantages of the options that are available for us to reorganize our elementary school structure. When we are ready to start those conversations, Dr. Wiedenhofer will be bringing that plan to the board to kind of lay out, here's our timeline when we're ready. Part of that plan will be impacted by what happens in the next legislative session, that long budget session. And as you heard Dr. Penrod present, just the impact that that's going to have on our budget. We want to make sure that we have a fiscal necessity to make those changes before jumping into that planning. We also want to make sure that, as Dr. Penrod did tonight, we're very clear in what our budgeting process is, where money's being spent, how we're prioritizing our funds and the use of those, and why decisions are being made around our finances. One of the things that we'll be diving into a little more quickly, you heard Dr. Penrod mention those costs in the operations fund like utilities. We will be doing an energy study to see if there are operational savings that we can make in some of those fixed expenses, seeing if we can reduce any of those. Our final pillar is around academic and instructional. And our goal here is to support all students and staff, providing personalized opportunities for growth while preparing all students for future success. We want to make sure that we are being aligned in our administrative walkthrough process and strengthening our instructional leadership so they are able to provide support and direction in our classrooms. This summer, we launched our own in-house professional learning community summit with leaders from each of our leadership teams in our schools leading those sessions. And then they have taken back very clear goals and approaches for how their professional learning communities will happen this school year. So we have formalized that process. And one of the goals we are still continuing to work on is enhancing our high ability learner programming. We are continuing to provide additional training for our teachers that serve our high ability students. We've purchased some additional resources for those students. We've also restructured some time in our day and throughout the week where high ability programming will be taking place with our students. And lastly, you'll see we really want to make sure when our classroom observations are done, our students are doing a great job of being in class, of completing their work. What we want to move toward is seeing more active student engagement. We heard from students, we heard from families, we heard from teachers. We really want to get more hands-on learning, more project-based learning, and truly having students more engaged in that learning process. So those will be areas of focus throughout our strategic plan, but wanted to highlight for you that we are already really honing in on that PLC process. Then you just have some additional information here on what we heard through our processes and how those pillars align and our strategic response to those. I'm happy to answer any questions about that plan, but I would love to have you vote to approve our goals this evening and allow us to begin work on getting our school plans aligned with those district goals.
Any questions? Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second that?
And the vote, please.
Mr. Archibald,
Yes.
Yes.
Caswell,
Yes. Aye.
Mr. Ridenhour,
Yes.
Mr. Stary.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0. Future meetings, all meetings are conducted here in the McCutcheon Administration Center Boardroom at 6 PM. Our next meeting will be September 15th, October 20th, followed by November 17th. Dr. Wiedenover.
Board, just a couple of items. It is great to have kids back in our hallways and going through our buildings, to be able to see athletes on the fields and in the gyms, to hear the music of band once again fill the air. So it is great to have everybody back, especially with our teachers. They have been fantastic about making sure that we've done some professional development. We've done some things with them that just kind of get them into the mood and getting them up and going. So we were very excited about that. I got to give a huge shout out to our custodians. If you walk through any of our facilities right now or any of our buildings, you will see some outstanding things. That was with the hard work of our maintenance staff, our custodians, and then under the direction of Mr. Wagner, kind of making sure some of those big projects such as parking lots, retaining walls, some of those kinds of things, that those were completed and kind of moving forward. You heard it tonight, with not a full strength of bus drivers. You heard a director of transportation who makes it work every single day. So kudos to our bus drivers who show up every day early in the morning, get their buses fired up to go out there and get our kids transported safely to and from school. So we very much appreciate all of them. And then lastly, to our teachers and our administrators and our classified staff for just an outstanding start to the school year. I've had the pleasure, along with my cabinet team, to be out in buildings and to walk through classrooms and see what's going on in our buildings, and it has been a great start to the school year. So very much appreciate everybody's hard work in making sure that our school is up and running early on. So with that, Mr. President, that is the report.
Any board member comments?
How's the theater auditorium renovation coming along?
We haven't anticipated, that is going along very well. If you'd walk in there, new paint is in there, or new stage has been kind of expanded out. So everything is progressing very nicely. We meet with our contractors on a bi-weekly on Fridays just to get a process update. So our anticipated date for that to be done is somewhere that first week of October. I'm hoping October 1. Fine arts is Mr. Haven is working with, our fine arts teachers if there's a play or what we're doing, and if we're going to move it around or delay the start a little bit. But they've been great because I think they are very excited about what that new auditorium is going to look like when everything's done. So once we do that and we set up our data meetings, we'll get you, we'll have a high school data meeting, but then we'll walk you down to the high school auditorium because it should be done by the time that Dr. Relly has this all signed up, that we can walk through there and see those finishing touches. So I'm excited to show it off to you, but going well.
Any other comments? All right, there's nothing else to come before the board. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion, we adjourn?
Aye.